Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back here today with an article from the Daily Signal from June 24th. It says, Trump's culture war offensive is working. So let's go ahead and see what it has to say about that. It says, the past month has seen bold advances in President Donald Trump's crusade to recapture cultural ground that the left had conquered in recent decades. Whether on museums, media, or universities, the president is on the offensive and the left is in retreat. 2 weeks ago alone saw advances on two fronts: a congressional win against NPR and PBS, and a retreat by the Smithsonian. The House of Representatives 214 to 212 vote on June 12th, damn, that's a close vote, to rescind $1.1 billion that Congress had already appropriated for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the nonprofit that distributes taxpayer money to NPR, PBS, and public radio and television stations, was a milestone. The tightness of the vote reveals the stakes. Ever since President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Public Broadcasting Act authorizing the CPB in 1967, every Republican president in Congress has tried to bring public broadcasting to heel. But all efforts have failed. Democrats have voted in unison to protect their interests, and thus those of NPR and PBS, and enough Republicans have thought, well, PBS may give my party 85% negative coverage, but if I vote for it, my local station will spare me. It's a kind of idiotic way of thinking. Just vote against it. Okay, they're going to lie about you anyway. So the June 12th vote saw 4 of those, but not enough to save the broadcasters' bacon this time. The rescission package now heads to the Senate, where Republicans have a 53 to 47 advantage. That still won't make it a cakewalk, and timid senators will find any excuse not to take a stand on an important issue. But Senator Eric Schmidt, Republican of Missouri, lead Senate sponsor of the rescissions package, told Punchbowl, I think broadly there's a lot of agreement that we need to move forward on it. Eliminating public funding for NPR and PBS is an important step in the cultural reconquista. Nice framing there. As the left uses both institutions to tear down America's cultural and historical narrative and put in place a distorted counter-narrative. And of course, the left funds this with money from every American taxpayer. So another such institution is the Smithsonian, the world's largest museum complex, with 21 museums and 14 educational and research centers. Trump in March issued an executive order that, right at the start, identified the problem. As over the past decade, Americans have witnessed a concerted and widespread effort to rewrite our nation's history, replacing objective facts with a distorted narrative driven by ideology rather than truth. Museums, added the order, should be places where individuals go to learn, not to be subjected to ideological indoctrination. It instructed Vice President J.D. Vance to effectuate the policies of this order through his role on the Smithsonian Board of Regents. The first meeting of the board with the vice president was earlier this month. Vance worked the room with a mixture of persuasion and outright pressure, according to published reports from the always secretive meeting. He got results. His initial reports emphasized how the board had circled the wagons around Smithsonian Secretary Lonnie Bunch III, under whose leadership much of the wokeness has come in, and rebuffed Trump's firing of National Portrait Gallery head Kim Saget. But Saget was gone in a matter of days, resigning on her own. So is it one of those things like, you're fired? No, I quit. Sort of things. I don't know. That's the feeling I got. I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying that. This Bunch put out a statement thanking her for putting the Smithsonian's interests above her own. The Smithsonian, as I trip over my words, also agreed to conduct a wide audit of all its content in order to eliminate biased material, perhaps even personnel. Good. It should be stuff based on truth, not based on ideology. Then it emerged that Bunch emailed staff to admit to bias. On occasion, some of our work has not aligned with our institutional values of scholarship, even-handedness, and nonpartisanship, he wrote. For that, we must all work to do better. I don't know if that's like a mea culpa or he's just saying that to say it. Guess we'll find out. It says, even better, in his budget request to Congress, Trump asked the legislature not to fund the Smithsonian's creation of a Latino museum. So early exhibits of the planned museum have revealed that the left will use it as an incubator of grievances against the United States, a place to stoke resentments among Americans with roots in Iberia or her colonies. Okay, then I'd say, like, at first I'm like, okay, who cares if there's a Latino museum? And then it's like, oh, it's going to be one of those woke things. And I'm like, nah, yeah, glad he did it. Instead, Trump wants the Smithsonian to return to sharing collections on the culture and history of these Americans across the complex's many museums, reviving the so-called Smithsonian Latino Center of old, rather than sectioning off this part of American history in a segregated institution under the direction of woke curators. And it says, acting on my own capacity, it's the author of the article, not me, Jason, says, I was one of the more than 20 scholars with these roots to sign a letter supporting the president's decision not to fund this mistake. On the university front, lest we forget, it was about a month ago that Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced that she had ordered the cancellation of Harvard's Student and Exchange Visitor Program certification, barring the school from enrolling foreign students. Says the second Trump administration understands the supreme importance of these ideological battles, and as the past 30 days have shown, its decision to go on offense is working. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, sounds like they're making the right decisions here, and that's a good thing. And here is the previously aforementioned Kim Saget in this picture here, but we'll kind of leave it at that. So do you think Trump's culture war offensive is working? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.